me at cello, cello. You had me at cello. You had me at cello. Oh, you had me at cello. Well, good afternoon. It's not 5 o'clock on a Friday, but that's when this will be broadcast. I'm coming to you from the combined ASTA and Suzuki convention in Louisville, Kentucky, along with Courtney Castaneda. How you doing, Courtney?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
Tremendous. So we're trying something a little bit different. ASTA put out an offering, kind of a first come, first serve for a booth to do podcasts from. And so I thought, why not? And Courtney was agreeable. So I'll turn the floor over to Courtney to tell us, Courtney, how'd you get started on cello in the first place, and what was your education and journey that took you to where you are?
So I started playing violin in first grade through my public elementary school in Houston. And I think that is likely the reason why I am a musician today, was the experience and opportunity I had in my elementary school. I then decided I did not like the violin and begged to switch to the cello, and somehow convinced them to let me switch. And then I played cello for a long time, had some ups and downs with it. I think that's normal. I quit for a little bit and then decided that I really did like it and started playing again. I went to UC Davis to major in music and psychology. Had such a great time being part of a larger music community that I decided to just keep going. Got a master's in cello performance at Sacramento State, and then ended up, after some journeys, to UT Austin, where I got another master's in music and human learning. And yeah.
All right, yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
So do you find the psychology degree useful as a teacher, and if so, how?
I do. I think that most people who are teachers also have an interest in, brain development and how music and psychology relate, and that was really helpful, and I think has furthered my interest in teaching beyond what it maybe would have been if I hadn't have gotten that degree. Yeah.
Okay, and you said violin wasn't for you and you switched to cello. What was it about cello that drew you over from violin?
Well, cello doesn't have the E string. I also, I was little and I thought playing a bigger instrument was cool when in first grade, and then people kind of told me no, and then that made me want to do it even more. So, but the resonance and the sound really related to me. Yeah.
All right, and you were in the UT String Project. You were assistant director for some years. What did you get out of being in the String Project, and how does that affect your teaching?
The UT String Project was fundamental to my teaching career and really shaped the person and the teacher that I am today, especially with all of the training from Dr. Scott. The UT String Project is great because you get experience teaching 0 to 3 classes, and then you have experience teaching adults, and that was amazing to come out of that program and to have taught all different ages and levels and experiences. It taught me discipline. We teach every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. and that can be difficult when you're in college. Dr. Scott has this amazing ability to, she's incredible. It's hard to put into words, but she always is thinking about the students, and it's always about what's best for them. And even if it requires more from the teacher, it doesn't matter because this will help the students. And we put on these incredible festivals, eclectic styles festivals, and they were they were intricate and there were lots of different parts to them, and we somehow always made it work. And being assistant director also taught me what happens behind the scenes, and emailing, reserving rooms, making sure the football game won't, conflict with this festival or that. And that gave me a lot of experience that has helped since, being, having to do the teaching side and the administrative side.
Very cool. Yeah, it would be cool if Dr. Scott walks by and we can flag her down and give her a shout out. Yeah, and the football stadium reminds me how close it is to the music building there at UT Austin, and that was kind of annoying on Saturdays. Yeah, and then so it's also great talking with you here. This is the first time that ASTA and the Suzuki conference have had their conferences together. And you speak both languages. You have Suzuki training as well with Tanya Carey, who's also been a guest. We've had her at our UW Whitewater Cello Days, and she's phenomenal as well, just like Dr. Scott, but of course in different ways. Can you talk about both, actually? If you talk a little bit about your Suzuki training and how I think a number of people that I've interviewed who have Suzuki training say that it affects the way that they teach, not just when they're teaching, youngsters or in the Suzuki style, and then also what you specifically got out of studying with Tanya Carey.
To start with Tanya, she has high expectations for her students, and she holds you to them. And when you do what she asks, it feels great. And I really appreciated that she expected a lot from us. And I think that's a good takeaway for teachers, to have high expectations for your students and help them be successful and to meet these different goals that you're setting for them. Her classes were amazing. I loved them. I loved working hard, and she has you do book reports, and of course you have to do the observations, but it felt more than just a Suzuki training class. It felt like she was teaching me about how to be a more well-rounded person and teacher, and I really appreciate that about her classes. What was your other question?
How Suzuki training as a whole impacts
Yeah.
your approach to teaching.
So what's great about the Suzuki method and training is that it really emphasizes how important it is to have a sequential method of teaching, and especially I think for younger students, how important it is to really think about what you're doing and the effect that it will have and why you're doing something. I think sometimes people think teaching the younger kids is maybe easier, but you really learn that it's the most important job to set them up well and to really think about what you're doing. And again, it's not just music. You're also teaching them structure and resilience and how to do something really well. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you have to put yourself in their shoes.
Right, yeah.
Right, cool. So now the question I ask everybody, motivation. When students need help, they know that once they enjoy the process of practicing, that by and large they're going to be on a roll, and that'll be like a flywheel and keep them going. But when students need help figuring out how to get that cello out more often and practice it, what are some of your go-tos?
I really try to emphasize quality over quantity. A lot of people get stuck on the amount of time, and I did as a child. I remember the practice charts. If I practiced 30 minutes a day, but it didn't ask me what I practiced or how I practiced. So I try to remind students that even if it's 10 minutes of really focused work on I don't know, 3 measures, that's so much better than nothing, or 30 minutes of like playing this piece through 20 times but not working on anything in particular. So I really try to emphasize quality. And also I really started getting into yoga, and I don't always want to do it, but I know that I will never regret having done it, and I never have. And it's the same with practicing. I think it's okay to not want to practice. A lot of times I don't want to, but I know that when I finish, I will feel better. And I'm never unhappy that I sat down and played and practiced. And starting with something that you like playing at the beginning of your practice session can also help. But yeah, quality over.
And do you find that the yoga mindset is helpful? Do you apply it in just like overcoming performance anxiety or in aspects of performing as well?
I think so. I think that yoga, when you're doing yoga, you're in a flow, and it's the same I feel with cello. When I play or perform, I'm in a mindset that's hard to replicate during anything else that I do other than yoga, really. That's an interesting question, but they do seem similar to me. And also emphasis on like breathing is really important. Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of times when I play, I don't breathe, and I'm like, grinding my teeth, and yoga just like allows me to relax. Yeah.
All right. So talk a bit, if you will, about American Dreamer. I know there's a number of people, my students and other people watching this, who are thinking, wow, it'd be great, in addition to the wonderful classical repertoire we have for cello, to find a way to do something outside the box and to make it work and to get gigs. And can you tell that story?
So in Austin, we have a folk indie band called American Dreamer, cello, violin, upright bass, and guitar. And that has been an amazing experience. I, at some point, just sort of stopped playing for, whatever reason. And being part of that band really drew me back to cello playing. When you play non-classical music for an audience like we have in Austin, they don't care if you played a wrong note or you start a piece over again. Obviously, these are things that you want to practice doing in classical music, but there was a certain amount of freedom that came with that I found very liberating. Obviously, I don't try to play wrong notes, but it was just a different style of playing and thinking and performing that I really needed at that time. We worked really hard. We, in Austin for probably about a year, we would play any gig we could get, no matter really how long it was or what the pay was. There were weekends we did 3 shows in a weekend, sometimes 4. And we really put in the hard work to get performing experience and to kind of get our name out there. And since then, we now can be more selective over the gigs that we take. We've played corporate gigs. We've done all sorts of amazing things, but we really did have to put in the legwork to get there. A lot of emailing, that's where administrative experience is really important. A lot of emailing, a lot of following up, a lot of promoting yourself, which I don't like doing at all. But you really have to sell yourself, and that is hard and feels uncomfortable. But yeah, that's been a great experience, and it's also opened up a whole nother world to me of cello playing and different styles of music and fiddle tunes and things like that. So. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So what's on the horizon for the remainder of 2024? Projects, performances, what's coming up?
We have a bunch of shows in Austin in April. We're playing for a local radio station We are playing at an arts fest, a huge arts festival in Houston. We're doing a school tour. We're going to schools during the school day and talking about our band and its formation. And yeah, that's the biggest thing. I haven't really looked much past that at the moment. But that's the biggest thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you guys have plans to record or anything?
We just put out a new record last summer, so we're taking a little bit of a break from that, but that is on Spotify if you want to check it out. Yeah.
Nice, we will. All right, thank you, Courtney. I also want to thank Blair for setting this up for the podcast at the exhibit hall. And we'll just, at the risk of making people a little bit maybe seasick or dizzy or something like that, just kind of show where we are. It's different. I don't know how many people took her up on it, but it's kind of fun. All right. Well, thanks for joining me, Courtney, and I look forward to the next time our paths cross at Austin. And to all of you out there, as usual, happy practicing all week long. I'll be back in Wisconsin, and we'll rejoin Cello Chats at 5 p.m. on Fridays, starting this coming Friday. Take care. Bye-bye.
You had me at